Sup, ladies and gentlemen, Akolon here, and of course, welcome back to each and every one of you. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Akolon. Strap in, ladies and gentlemen. We have a new interview done by the Mana crew with Morgan Day. And in this interview, I'm going to very briefly cover some of the bigger things that came out of this, as I've done with every single interview so far. I want you all to be well equipped and to know what is going on, but I also don't really want to waste your time with needless stuff that you've heard a million times before. So first and foremost, if you want to be one of the cool people on the screen right now, hit the links in the description down below, become a patron, a member, or a Twitch sub. Any and all support is always very much appreciated. Hit the like button because it helps and it's free. So yeah, let's jump into it. First things first, a big thing. Both Morgan Day and Ian consistently speak about the new alpha tasting, the new methodology that they have for alpha tasting. And they are looking at alpha tasting now more like raid tasting. They're doing very focused tests, very specific tests. They want to see specific things. And Ian told us that this is going to lead to a much shorter alpha and beta process. So rather than getting everyone in and sort of waiting for everyone to discover everything and then finally have enough data to say this was a successful test, they test specific things at specific times. And this is where we get to my favorite part of the entire interview. They are experimenting with keeping things secret. So they really liked the Kalia Menethil storyline, or the Sepulchre of the First Ones, where you do get to see some of the introduction stuff. You do get to see some of the sort of, intro stuff is pretty good. I don't know why I wanted to come up with a whole new way of saying intro stuff, but you don't get to see the conclusions. You don't get to see major storylines that will change major things, and I love that. I wish they would do more of that. Personally, I don't understand why we need to see storyline questing in any way, shape, or form. I think it's fine if you don't test those. And you might say, but Akolon, what if the quests are broken? Well, this is where stress testing comes in. And this is also where internal quest tasting comes in. There are a lot of games out there, games like Final Fantasy come to mind immediately, which are incredibly story-driven games. And they don't do alpha beta testing for this specific reason. They don't want to spoil their story. So yes, it's incumbent upon the developers and the QA staff to test these things thoroughly. But I think that's fine. I don't mind the fact that they have testing for classes and raids and stuff like that. I think that's perfectly good. And I actually kind of like that testing. But storylines, I don't want spoiled, because I want to be able to experience those storylines for the first time when they're good and ready, you know, when all the bells and whistles are off and it's brand new and you see the cinematics. So I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's a nice compromise, at least in the beginning. And maybe as Blizzard keep doing it and as they keep seeing success with it, we might see more of that even in the future, where Blizzard eventually does feel like, hey, you know what? We don't need to taste any of our story. We're going to keep this story out, and that's good. So personally, I love the idea of that. The next big thing that Morgan Day spoke about is the idea of awakening. This is what Dragonflight is all about. It's awakening all over the world, and the same is true for World of Warcraft. They've shifted their approach from being expansion specific to now future proofing. So he kind of went into a little bit more detail on this one, but basically the idea is, yes, there's less things than there was in the past in past expansions, but the things that they have now will basically form the foundation of the end result in 3 or 4 expansions. So imagine, all of the new profession stuff, right? And then the class stuff. Next expansion, you have even more things added. So maybe next expansion you have a permanent Darkmoon Fair added with like a bunch of rides and a bunch of attractions and stuff like that. And that becomes a new cool feature. But that feature is now on top of all of the already existing features. And we already know that they are going to spend patch content making more content for players to actually permanently engage with. That's the whole point here. He went into a lot of detail on this. They want the game to feel permanent. They want you to know that if you spend time in Dragonflight leveling a profession, that is going to benefit you for years to come. The time that you spent in Dragonflight actually getting your professions ready, getting those specializations going, it's going to mean something moving forward. The same is true for your class. You know, once you hit max level and you build your class, this is going to mean something moving forward. And I love the idea of that. I absolutely fucking love that. I'm trying to see if there's any other notes here of big things that they discussed. I guess one of the sort of side topics, but this is definitely important for a lot of players, so it is a good thing. They're looking quite deeply at alts, leveling alts, but also at people playing multiple characters. Let's be honest, World of Warcraft is a game where people play many characters. I myself usually have about 4 or 5 permanent characters, so these are characters that I'm doing a lot of things on, and then I'll usually have everything leveled to max, right? Because why not? Leveling is usually fun. I think Shadowlands was the only, or the first time ever, where I didn't actually level every single class to max level, because there was just so much that I would have to do in order to get those classes even anywhere near. So I just decided against it. But still, I have about 3 or 4 classes that is at max level and that have their covenants unlocked and all the rest of it. So I like doing it. I know many other people like doing that. So first thing they're looking at is a level skip, but not a paid for level skip. The ability to skip the leveling process. So like Threads of Fate, but Threads of Fate, I think, failed in Blizzard's eyes. And I know why it failed. That's the frustrating thing. I wish I could just speak to Ian for like 2 seconds and be like, okay, Ian, listen, Threads of Fate, brilliant idea. Brilliant. More XP. It needs to be faster than normal questing, not slower. It needs to be much faster. It needs to be at least double the speed of normal questing, because the whole point is you're already at max level with one character. You've already seen the story. You want to get to max level fast. So it needs to be 2, 3, 4 times faster. Basically, you should be able to get to max level in 5 hours, right, on an alt. Leveling, let's be real, isn't really content after you've done it the first time and you've seen that story. So why try and build on it? But anyways, they are looking into different ways of allowing people to skip the questing experience and actually still level but do things in the open world. Right now, they don't have any answers. The more important thing for me, and the thing that I'm absolutely in love with, of course, is this idea of they want to make sure that if you play multiple characters, you don't redo things that is just absolutely boring. So they have quite a lot of focus on what can be account-wide and what needs to be character-specific. And I love that they're taking another look at that. We already know that dragon riding, for example, is now going to be account-wide. We know that most reputations and things like that will be account-wide nowadays. So Blizzard is already doing all the good work to make sure that by the time you play your alt, it really is just playing your alt. You know, you want to do some raids, maybe you want to do some PvP. So you can do those things and you don't have to worry about the maintenance that you have to do for your main. So things that you do on your alt are things that you find fun, not things that you must do before you can do the things that you find fun. I love that they're looking back and sort of paying attention to these things now for the first time. So far, I'm going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, every single thing I hear from Blizzard is a good thing. I've not yet stepped into anything where I thought, oh, that's not great. That's not going to work well. But hey, you know, it is just my opinion. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about it. So let me know in the comment section down below. If you're excited for Dragonflight, hit the like button. If you aren't, hit the dislike button. That will give us a good idea of where people sort of land on Dragonflight. And of course, if you're neutral, leave a comment telling me that I'm very neutral. I'm not yet sure. I'd love to read what you have to say. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, remember you can be on the screen right now by becoming a patron, a YouTube member, or a Twitch sub. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, be kind to each other, be good to each other. Take care of yourselves. I will see all of you in the next one. Peace.